I experienced that as well, and his word to me was to give myself fully to this thing, take this to the ends of the earth, that there's an ability within me, there's an anointing, what we call there's a power, a dynamism, a dynamite, but also I had a vision for the nations that went beyond it, that transcended from this nation to the nations of the world. And so from a child I've always believed that there was something in my life that was bigger than just Barbados. And so when I came out from the darkness into the light, that transition and that transformation just was so explosive that I just began to have a whole different view of what God could do in and through my life. And so living in an international community from a child, and then coming face to face with these individuals who were also from that community on board the ship as they would come to the island throughout the years that I worked in another organization, I saw a people who were just sold out, young people from all different cultures, just so passionate about the one that they love and committing their lives from such an early age.
Yes.
And I found that this is something that I couldn't do and would do. And I've always had it, but because I was working in a commercial environment, I didn't have the opportunity. But when I resigned from work, when I retired from work early in life, I was then free for the first time to give myself totally to this. And so in the second half of my life, the ministry that I'm attached to, my local church, their vision was to have full-time missionaries going out. And my hand went up in a hurry.
Amen.
And so in the second half of my life, I said that this is my new career for the rest of my life. And I will be going to the nations from now until Jesus Christ hits the sky. And there ain't nothing else that I will give my life to but this.
So
Simpson Villa Holiday Accommodations is a home away from home on the south coast of the island Barbados. Accommodations are $50 nightly and $65 with breakfast. Ground transfer is available and other transportation provisions on request. Holiday in Barbados, whether for 1 day or 60 days and more. Email us for your rates. Simpson Villa Holiday Accommodations, less than 10 minutes from any amenity and the fabulous sandy beaches of Barbados. Relax in a breezy and quiet and spacious and cool atmosphere with wireless internet and spa treatments a phone call away. Email simpsonvilla@caribsurf.com. That's CYNSONVILLA@caribsurf.com.
So I want to step into something right now. You mentioned when you landed in certain areas that poverty was right at the doorstep of the ship. Describe to me not necessarily what that poverty was, because that poverty we know is lack of food, lack of health care, basically lack of care. Lack of care. You can choose whatever you want, love or whatever, but in essence, poverty is lack of care in some aspect. And poverty, there's a difference in being poor, and then there's a difference in being in poverty. So poverty is a lack of care in some element, some aspect. Describe to me how you felt when you saw that poverty that you experienced, that you saw, as soon as you stepped off the ship.
Well, because on the journey from the West Indies to the other side, taking across the Atlantic journey, we're always prepared. So that preparation set us in step for what we would see. But seeing it again was then totally different. But we could still embrace it, we could still engage it, because we were prepared in our hearts and our souls and our minds for what we would encounter. But some people were challenged still by it because they were coming from an affluent community. But coming from our community, or people in our region, exposed not to the full extent of that kind of stuff, but yet being able to identify with it. I actually kissed the streets of Africa when I got there, identifying with our people that I'm in that environment, but also seeing on every hand the stuff that goes on. Yeah, you know that you're only there for 2 or 3 weeks. You can't do much, but you can at least embrace in your heart and feel in your heart what the people here are going through.
Yeah.
Wish that you could do so much more, but you can't in your own self. We could not do anything other than just share the love of God with them, embrace them, not reject them, but be mindful of the fact that, wow, it only takes the power of God to break through and to change your whole environment, change your whole lifestyle, change the structure of things, change government, change the corruption, whatever it was that they were faced with. We weren't there to change that. We were simply there to share the love of God, to prayer, to bring whatever ministry we could, whether it was literature evangelism, whether it was caring for them in the schools, in the homes, in the various environments in which our ministry took place, whether it was on board or on shore. We had a short window of opportunity, and we just did the best that we could do and embraced them, loved them, care for them. Where we could speak, we would speak. Where we could give them school packs, where we could bring eye care, dental care, medical care. whatever we could do, we can just share the expression of God's love in our hearts for them, and then leave the rest to God, because He alone knows what the impact was of our visits.
What was the response to you like? Because this would be in strange places where people, one, may not have heard of God before, and two, you know, you may not even look like them, James.
Well, that's right. But in some places we did look like them, in some places we didn't look like them. But wherever this white ship showed up, God showed up as well. Because there was a presence on board the ship that people were, we cannot understand why 12,000 people per day wanted to get on board that ship. People lining up for 5 hours waiting, pushing, scrambling, injuring themselves just to get an opportunity to come on board this white thing. Why? Because there was a presence on board that they didn't know about. But something was drawing them. It had to be the very Spirit of God. And the unique thing about the community is the unity on board, and that's what drives that ship continually, because the presence that we have on board is the presence of one that they know not of. And so He so fills our lives, and we're so unified that the power of our presence in any nation, whether they embrace Him or not, makes a total difference. And so when they come on board, they experience this total difference that says, wow, I want what you got. There's something different about it. We want it. Tell us more.
Taking